Okay. I am on. There we go. Let's see. Okay. I think I'm on. Let's get some chat up here. All right, all right, all right. Everybody. Okay, let me wait a few minutes here. There's a lot of stuff going on today, you guys. Let's see. I mean, the main thing is we all know what's happening. So, let's see. Today is Tuesday. I was going to be on yesterday, but for some reason I was like, too lazy. And I'm like, okay, well, the market's down anyway. So I was a bit depressed. Not really, though, not really. Just a bit lazy. Okay, let me set up real quick. I think there's a slideshow going on right now. But let me see. Testing 1, 2, 3. I think I'm on. Okay, so let's see. Got the. All right. So let's get to this real quick. I think. Oops. What am I doing here? Oops. What the heck? There we go. Okay, so the thing's on. For some reason, I thought my hot key is not gonna do a thing. Hey, what's up, Lorna? Welcome, welcome. Okay, 1 second. Hey, Manuel, what's up? Thank you so much for joining. All right, so let's get to it. I mean, nothing much going on, right? I mean, same old, same old. But I feel like there's a lot more Okay, let me try to frame this a little bit more. I feel like there's a lot more confirmation now where I feel like Ryan Cohen's mind is, right? Again, at least the perception is that he might be actually buying Bitcoin right now or thinking about it, right? Accumulating. This would be the best time to buy, obviously, because it's been pulling back. Bitcoin has been going crazy. The other way, not much. Not much happening. Let me see. Oh my goodness. Okay, Michael. Anthony. You keep saying, giving me all this. Great, thank you. Thank you for giving me that. I don't look in that company, but I appreciate the info. So yeah, go ahead. Anyone who's interested in this company, go ahead and look it up for yourself. But anyway, let me go back. Let me go back to this Bitcoin thing, okay? I feel like this is my favorite thing to talk about because I feel like I've been in it. And now that my favorite CEO is about to buy Bitcoin, you think I'm not excited about this? The mic is off? Oh no! What is going on? Hold on. Okay. How are we doing? How am I sound? Am I okay? I feel like it's my mic. Maybe I need to. Hold on, let me fix it. Mic sounds good. Okay, good. I feel like sometimes the mic just dies. Um, I haven't listened to my own shows, so I don't really know until somebody says something about it, or somebody just pull my leg. Okay, good. Anyway, good, good, good. Thank you so much. Okay, so let me go back to my original thoughts before it flee my mind forever until the end of time, and you guys won't ever know what I was gonna say about this topic. As I was saying, Bitcoin is one of my, route, okay, of, going into investing purposes. But it is something that has been kind of, I feel like it's been in my peripheral vision, okay? And when my favorite CEO is about to buy into Bitcoin, I feel like this is like a match made in heaven for me anyway. And I see a lot of good things coming from that. Now, I know a lot of people who don't like crypto. They're going to feel like, oh my God, he's just going to be grifting, right? And I'm waiting for that particular news. The news going to go haywire on how, oh, he's just grifting and, whatever angle, the news going to brought forth. Now, I understand it is a very volatile asset, and it's been kind of in the mainstream media for quite some time. Not only this past like couple months because of the inauguration and Trump's kind of come out and say that, hey, it's a green light now. Everybody is just scrambling to get into it, and because there's such a finite, a limited amount of Bitcoin out there to be had, one has to postulate, okay, eventually the billionaire is gonna come and get it, right? and then eventually state, and governments and all, they're just gonna try to accumulate as much as they can. And so there's no better time for the company to anyone, right, could participate in this, including retail. And retail has been, I mean, I wouldn't say it has been in not GameStop, Bitcoin for a long time, but Bitcoin has been one of these cornerstone of, okay, no matter who you are, you could participate in it. You could buy Bitcoin in less than $1 like 20 years ago, right? And people don't realize that. Again, it's the best performing asset class, right? No matter how you slice it. I understand, the news going to try to scare you the heck out of you when it comes to like, oh, Bitcoin is crashing. And I'm saying like, okay, so from where? I mean, and how deep is it going to go, right? So usually these type of thing is just temporarily. When you hear Bitcoin crash, right? If you think of anything in long-term perspective, you're not going to be scared. If you understand what Bitcoin is, you just buy it whenever you can and then store it for a long period of time, right? 10 years or more. That's a rule of thumb. But I mean, currently it seems like there is a 4-year cycle here, right? That is implemented here. That could be seen, right? Could be observed. And I think I've talked about this a lot in other show too. So today I'm kind of like a little bit flustered for whatever reason. But if you just map it out, right? Every 4 years, like the same, it's like, look, right? I mean, again, give or take one or 2 month differences, but you could see that the peak is every 4 years. And so, one could also postulate again that the peak is going to be this year and end of this year. Now, take that with a grain of salt, right? This time might be different because for whatever reason, right? Quantitative easing or whatever, it's going to come again, right? Because the bond yields is going down, right? And TLT has gone up in value, like I predicted. Of course, I would have put a lot more money in that. But again, it's like anytime I accumulate something, I know for a fact that I'm going to be here for a long time. The same exact thing, the same exact principle. Because I've learned from this, right? Now, had I hold all of my Bitcoin, I would have been okay. Right? I would have been like, okay, I'm set. And accumulate as I go, right? But again, life doesn't work that way. You need to have some experience of losses and of missed opportunity and all that stuff to realize how valuable holding anything for long term is, right? But anyway, so my point is that the news is gonna, try to steer people away from this asset as much as they can, because again, now, Citadel has been announcing that they're gonna go into crypto, right? So all of the institution, because now they have the green light to do that, they are going to flock into this type of asset class like anything. That's what I'm waiting for, right? Of course, anything could happen. I'm not saying it's going to go to the moon tomorrow. But if you're patient enough, perhaps, by the end of this year, you're going to see a higher price for Bitcoin. How high? Who knows, right? I mean, you could draw a line if you wanted to try to predict how far it's going to go by the end of the year. So you could go by that right there. I mean, $300,000, that's not too bad, right? That's not, I mean, what? From here is close to 3x. So I'm willing to say that much, right? Now, of course, there's a super cycle. People, because now institution is going into it. All of the corporation perhaps going to flock into it as well. So you could kind of postulate how high is it going to go because of the hype and everything. I mean, you've heard the numbers out there that it's going to be $1 million a coin. Will it surprise anyone if it goes at that? Of course. It would be a shock to the system, right? But, remember, 10 years ago, if you were to say to somebody, Bitcoin's going to reach $100,000, would anyone believe you? Of course not, right? Because the asset class wasn't very prevalent, and it was just among retail, which is buying and selling, or, whoever get to participate, Gemini or Coinbase or whatever, right? They buy and sell and kind of manipulate the market in their own way. And so again, people get to participate in it. And so no one, including me, who participated in the market back then, did not ever realize that it's going to come to, $100,000. But again, so if it's going to go to 100,000, it's going to go to $1 million. And in some time, at some point in time, again, I'm not saying it's going to happen within this year. It takes a lot more money to get into the space into Bitcoin to get it to $1 million. But again, with the enthusiastic nature of everybody flocking into it, that's why I kind of, it's like, hey, it could it could go to $1 million. But yeah, for now, I'm willing to say $300,000. Now, the opportunity is not here. Of course, I have some Bitcoin. I'm going to try to accumulate as much as I can, when it comes back down. But right now, I'm in XRP because I think that the opportunity in percentage-wise, I feel like XRP has more, room to run because of the narrative, being suppressed for 7 years, lawsuits, people just, not understanding what XRP is and all that stuff again, But again, Bitcoins will go higher for sure. How high? But yeah, so that's my prediction right there. By the end of this year, $300,000. So let's see. Now, if Ryan Cohen were to buy here, this would be the best opportunity, right? I know it could come down to, to test this level right here, the recent high? I mean, possible, right? But also, too, you could say, okay, let's draw this line right here. Perhaps it's just going to reach this trend line right here, and then going back down, going back up again. Bitcoin has done this many times, you guys. This is like very bullish because, again, there's an uptrend here that you want to until it breaks this trend line right here. It's pretty simple, like the way that I do my TA, quote unquote. I'm not a TA person, you guys. It's pretty simple. So don't complicate it, because otherwise you're just gonna be like, okay, these type of asset is meant for accumulation. And so if Jimmy were to do it slowly and not really going all in, now if he goes all in, that's fine too. Like I'm here for it, because again, knowing what he is about, he's all about long-term investor anyway. And so this is such a good fit to have in the leadership, no matter what, whether he's going to go into Bitcoin or going into something else. I fully support that for sure. Let's see. But anyway, so what I would love him to do though, like, this is it's my speculation. I'm like, what if he's gonna just like issue bonds, just like MicroStrategy did, and just borrow money to buy Bitcoin, the same exact playbook? How would that be though? Like, I'm not quite sure how I would feel about that, because at some point, it's going to be seen as, is it a Ponzi scheme and all that stuff. And of course, the media is going to run that story too. So, but, to be kosher, on like, not to borrow money, but instead using the interest payment that we've got from either, bonds and stuff like that. It's more safe, obviously, more conservative, if he were just to use the $250,000 from, either from our sale of goods and services, net profit going to Bitcoin every single year. I mean, that's actually a very good, much more conservative, right, way of doing this if he were to get Bitcoin. I know Ryan's probably listening to me right now, because I actually tweet him directly. Yeah. Hold on, let me try to show you. 1 second. So I did tweet him, or post or whatever, on one of his posts, and perhaps he saw that, and then he was like, okay, let me look into Bitcoin, and then he tweeted the other one responding to hold on, let me try to look for it. It's so funny though. I was like, what, did he just read my tweet? But he didn't even respond to me, you guys. Like, this is terrible. I might consider just sell the share altogether, until he tweet me back, then I'll buy it back, same thing. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm back now. So this is what I tweet him. This would be the best time to buy Bitcoin. Wink, wink. Now, of course, like, he didn't tweet it or retweet me back, but and then if you were to look at the reply, or see, I tweet him 4 hours before that, and then he was like, letter received. My day was made. I was like, yeah, Ryan, I know you're like listening to a lot of people who are, enthusiastic about GameStop. And and very happy to have this type of leadership. Happily, follow him to anywhere. Okay, blindly. I mean, okay, if you want to see blind, okay, blind sheep following Ryan Cohen until the end of time. But anyway, so it's cool. I mean, it's cool that he's listening. Perhaps just what the shareholder really wanted. Perhaps he just doesn't understand. I shouldn't say he doesn't understand what Bitcoin is. Perhaps he just never thought about, kind of risking, shareholder equity, company's money to that extent. And I don't know. Again, like in his psychology, of course, I'm trying to put his shoes on here and speculating what he's going to do. But just knowing his style of leadership, though, I just feel like he's very conservative. And he's going to be very cautious if he were to accumulate Bitcoin. And I don't think he's just going to YOLO in just all $5 billion all at once. But no matter what, though, if he were to add just a couple of Bitcoin here and there, it still have a ramification that, that is going to cost a lot more people who run publicly traded company to go after Bitcoin as well. But yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I mean, I feel like this is going to be even better than MicroStrategy, because MicroStrategy doesn't even make money on their, core business. They lost what? Hold on one second. Let me go back here and see what my MSTR, is that the, yes, strategy right now. Okay, let me go back here. So if you look at MSTR as the core business, right, the net income went down by $1 billion. So to me, GME can be better, much better than MicroStrategy, simply because we do make money. We have net income here that is in the positive, and on top of that, we do have our core business as well, that people don't think that we're going to make money, which we do. It's ridiculous to say that our core business don't make money. We just need to fix the balance sheets better, right? And of course, this quarter is going to be crazy, like just on the core business alone. Of course, like that's me speculating, right? Because of the trading cards and all that stuff. It's just, too much to speculate. So that's why I'm just like, okay, let me just wait for the result. I know I see 2 + 2, but I just have to see that there's 4 there, before making any move. But anyway, I mean, look at this. I mean, lost $1 billion, but because they have Bitcoin, lots and lots of Bitcoin, the first mover on Bitcoin, this company is going to be talked about for a long time still. If GME were to join that group, of course, it's going to be the story of the history of stories in terms of the financial instrument here, the best investment of your lifetime type thing. Bitcoin 3.0 type thing, I know I have to go through 3.0. Okay, nobody's chiming, so I'm sure you guys are listening closely right now to what I'm saying to you. Okay, now I'm not saying Jimmy's gonna go to the moon tomorrow. Okay, don't go YOLO on call option. Don't be stupid. Okay, right? Just be careful. do your best, to accumulate as much as you can slowly. I'm sure they're gonna try to smack it down if Bitcoin's gonna go down again tomorrow. It's possible, you guys. But again, the pullback is normal in this type of bull market, so to speak. Okay, and so my expectation is that perhaps it's gonna hit that one. So 10 more percent down. So just be careful too, because it seems like they're trying to mimic that already today. If you look at the price action, right? Again, like as if they're gonna fool anyone. So, but they're gonna buy Bitcoin. Look, Bitcoin's going down. So like, let's just drop the price as low as we can. And of course, like people like me, I was like, really? You want to fool me again? You think I'm gonna fool anyone by dropping it down? So, like all of a sudden, Ryan Cohen tweet, oh well, might be confirming that he's buying Bitcoin, and all of a sudden, oh, let's just dump Jimmy. They're not fooling anyone. Obviously, this is not a real sell. Just freaking algorithm here. And this is when Ryan Cohen tweet here. See, look. It's ridiculous. At this point, we know that it's algorithm. Like, there's no human being who, like, all of a sudden know exactly the moment he tweeted. And then just immediately smack it back down again. But, I mean, the understanding that I've got from kind of following this type of thing quite a bit of time, even on MicroStrategy, they try to mimic Bitcoin movement all the time. So tomorrow, expect another downturn, because I know that they're gonna try to scare the bejesus out of people. Because Bitcoin, this is the dumbest thing ever. Why would you want to buy Bitcoin, the most volatile asset in the whole world? No. I mean, if you look at the overall, okay, the overall, it's like when they say to you, Bitcoin crash 80%, okay, 80% from where? So from here to here. Yes, if you are the most unlucky person in the whole world, okay, and you buy at the top all the time, you're still ahead. You just have a better time horizon. That's it, right? So, like every time you buy at the top, right? So you would still be ahead. So let's say you buy 3 times. Well, why is this like this? Sorry, let me see. Let's say you buy it 3 times, right? 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. Then your average is right here. I mean, assuming you have enough money to buy 1 Bitcoin at a time, okay? Assuming that you are a rich person and you just throw 1 Bitcoin per coin or something. And so your average would have been somewhere down here, right? Right? I mean, around $40,000, and you're still up ahead. So 1 Bitcoin here, 1 Bitcoin here. Right? One at $20,000, one at $70,000, and one at $100,000. So on average, you probably would reach right here. So again, that is going to continue if you think about it in the long term. So again, this is why Michael Saylor, buy at every single point in time, because he know that in 10 years from now, it's going to be a lot higher than today, because people are going to want to buy it, because there's only a limited amount of Bitcoins out there that anyone could have. So with that principle though, and coupled with people who have deep pocket here to get into Bitcoin, this is why, if you see a dip of like 20%, think of it as a gift. This is the gift. The same way with GME, the same exact thing. Now, when with this announcement though, if there is a confirmation that he's actually buying Bitcoin, of course I'm gonna would much rather accumulate in GME than Bitcoin. So now I don't even need to accumulate Bitcoin. Because again, the asset GME is going to just act like an ETF for me to, not only hold Bitcoin, but also hold the best company ever. Going to be, right? One of the biggest retail in the future. You've seen a lot of layoffs lately still. Starbucks just announced, what, 11,000 worker already, kind of like laying off like crazy. Meanwhile, Jimmy just chilling, right? Because we did that 3 years ago. We chose to go through the right thing, to do the right thing, when everybody was expanding like crazy. So there you go. The worst part of what GME is already behind us. And so only up from here, right? I know there's economic data. Oh, TLT is going up. So people are panicking. Right? Remember I talked about TLT, being okay. If GME were to buy TLT, they're up already, right? So bond is not a good idea. It is a good idea if you know what to buy. Right? So had he by just TLT being the safest thing, right? Safest asset for now anyway, because people are just fleeing for safety right here. So that's why you see a sudden movement up. Now the yield's coming down because people are chasing the yield. Every central banks out there are lowering their rates, right, all across the globe. The only one that is left would be the U.S. You have the Treasury. Scott Bessent wants the rate to be low. A couple of days ago, I talked about that. So what do you think is going to happen? Obviously, the rate's going to go lower. And so would that be good for GME to make the move on Bitcoin? Absolutely. You could still hold both. You don't have to just, one or another. Have some bond would be a great, a safe, more pristine. Yes, there's not much growth there. However, you won't be able, you won't lose your collateral unless the U.S. government go under, right? In which case, everybody gonna have some problem with that. So that's the least problem that you kind of could think of, right? I'm really thinking that there won't be any war, or hopefully there's not much conflict there, because Ukraine and Russia just accept a peace agreement already. And I think, hold on, did I have it? I didn't have it. Oops. But anyway, so there's peace in that region, but of course now, with the Palestinian and Gaza and all that stuff, so still some conflict there, but hopefully it's going to resolve soon. And there won't be any, major World War III to cause anything, chaos. But so my point is that, there's the hope that there won't be any disturbance on the economy at large. Obviously, there's trade war, and people are speculating it's going to be terrible for the U.S. and all that stuff. No, like, why would it be terrible? I mean, of course, yes, the initial change is going to cause some concern here, but it's more to do with naked shortings and all that stuff to try to address that. I've talked about gold being naked shorted, right? And people are just like scrambling for gold right now. Um, so that might do something to the economy in the short term, obviously. But in the long run, I feel like I don't think there's anything different because they're just gonna keep printing. Like the government, China is already printing hundreds of billions of dollars already, to try to prop them up. And so I feel like they're gonna just incorporate crypto into a new asset class so that people could get distracted on that. Now, this talked about XRP being, the layer base, which I agree because I feel like it makes sense. Because if you were to tokenize a lot of things like the treasury bonds too, like there was talked about tokenizing treasury bond in the XRP ledger. Why XRP? Well, because it's cheap, fast, and effective, right? Any financial institution, that's all they want. They just want cheap, fast, and a more reliable way of transferring value, and so that's going to cut a lot of costs. And it seems like the banking system is going to be kind of rewired using that, right? It's going to be decades from now when people are going to understand what this is all about. Now I'm hoping it's gonna be more free, that people are not gonna be tracked and all that stuff. But I have a feeling that they're gonna do that anyway. So we just have to be careful with the liberty that we have to transact on the blockchain. But that's like 20 years from now when you have to fight for that thing. I hope it's not going to be too late though. If you want to fight for that right to transact freely without being tracked. um, if the market keep going down, soon enough people will remember that cash is king. Of course. I mean, it's all already evidence because Warren Buffett has been been in cash for quite some time. What, $300 billion in cash, right? And so of course he's been freaking around for 100 years almost. So just be careful. I mean, just be prepared for that, right? um but and also understanding that at any moment in time it's going to turn around. So as long as you have your emergency fund, as long as you understand that, hey, you might have to wait a little bit longer for your thesis to play out, you'll be fine. Whether you're in Bitcoin, whether you're in GME, any instrument at all, you're gonna need some time for them for it to appreciate in value. Um, so yeah, I mean, if it goes, like you said, please let it go back to 10. Of course, right? By that time, again, like I don't know um, that no one would be buying GameStop at that point, right? Um, I mean, I keep saying, oh, they won't be stupid enough to bring it down to 10. They might be. They might be. But anything could happen, right? I would take a look at this level right here. If anything, because again, if you look at the kind of interaction here, there's a lot of price interaction around there. So yeah, it might be bouncing off of this, but it's gonna be quick though if it goes down to that price. It's gonna be a quick V-shaped recovery here, and then boom, off to the race. But yeah, it's gonna be scary for some people though, and they're gonna try to scare people on the Bitcoin side as well. So perhaps that's also going to be the narrative to fuel. It's like, I love GameStop coming down, sell now before it's too late, right? Ryan Cohen is now going to Bitcoin, all scam, all scam, all scam type thing, right? So yeah, you just have to weed those people out. All the noise and all that stuff. It's not long lasting, guys. And again, like when you hear Bitcoin crash, right? To wherever, just remember that if it ever crash back down to what, four, $40,000, people are gonna scoop it up like crazy, you know. Um, and if it even dropped down to this previous low right here, which it's like it'll be stupid not to buy at $20,000 at that point, right? I saw it over here, and I was hesitant. Like, what a dummy, right? What a dummy. Because I was like, oh my god, it's gonna come back down. Like it's gonna be going lower, going lower. So again, this is why I learned to dollar cost average no matter what, because your psychological, like you're psychologically going to be like, you know, like you would think, like right now, you would think if you don't know where the price is, right? You just see this chart right here. Of course, you're gonna be looking for this bottom right here, right? It's like okay, it's gonna reach um, the coronavirus level, right? So this is what I was looking at right there. I said, okay, it's going to be $10,000, and it never did. So I miss out on this one, right? Um, and I mean, am I gonna, kicking and screaming and oh, I should have done this? No, of course not. When you miss an opportunity, there's always going to be another opportunity, right? And so this is why I'm so adamant about accumulate consistently, at any point you can, right? Because you never know that, like, who would have known, guys, that it's going to drop down to $10 this year. It's like, oh, the technical people say, oh, of course it's a technical analysis. Bullshit. Nobody knows. Okay. And so, when you say, oh, never gonna come down to something, nah, it will come down to something. And then, you make your choice. But the way that I do it is that accumulate whenever I can, whenever I have spare change, okay, that I don't have to pay bills with. The simplest thing to do, right? And then, yes, if it's down 30, 40%, then okay, well, you just went in too early, okay? And so you just have to follow at that point, you just have to follow balance sheets. That's it, okay? You just need to, like, okay, are they going bankrupt? What are they doing this quarter? What are they doing differently? Yes, stuff like that is going to keep you more like, okay, it's down 30%. That's like a discount to me, right? Because when I bought it 30% higher before, it doesn't do as great as it is in terms of like the balance sheets. Okay, they didn't make as much money a year ago. Now they make more money, but the price is cheaper. That's a no-brainer, right? And so you just buy. Yeah. It's like, okay, 30% discount. That's not too bad. Just have to wait, and then you just add more. So yeah, I mean, keep it simple. You don't have to be any, oh, what if the Federal Reserve's gonna raise 2% more rate, like in one day? Okay, that's good. We have cash. So now, instead of having $200,000, $200 million in income from interest, if it's higher, then it's going to be higher than $250 million in interest. So no matter what the Federal Reserve does, we have, things to, we have the asset to at least take advantage of the increase in interest, right? Because that's what the market is fearful of right now. Now, if the Federal Reserve were to lower the rate to zero, now we have the money to buy Bitcoin. Because like if they do that, then yeah, inevitably Bitcoin's gonna go higher because quantitative easing. They're just gonna keep printing money. Okay. So again, inflation and all that stuff is gonna come back into the market. And so that's gonna be historically good for the market. Tariffs the same way. And people think that tariffs is going to be crashing the market. No. Certain companies that cannot survive, that's for sure. Either they have way too much debt to be able to grow, and that's going to be bad for the big companies out there. But companies like GameStop, we could mitigate that. We could just close a few more stores. That's it. And then, okay, just a few more employee loss. There you go. Because we already laid off, quite a bit 3 years ago, slowly, right, methodically. And so, and if we have more picked up demand on Pokemon and all that stuff, then we could open a few more stores, as we go, year by year, And so that's also a good way of kind of like make you feel like you're sane. Okay, when the when the price go down like crazy, 10% a day, 12% a day, you don't feel bogged down by that. In fact, you'll be like, this is a blessing for sure. And I've always feel so lucky. I'm not even joking with you guys. Like anytime Jimmy goes down in price, I'm like, okay, all right, I'll play that game. Like a few more shares here and there. That's it, right? Um, but now I'm kind of like I did something irresponsible, you guys. I don't want to. I don't know if I want to tell you guys. I took a personal loan. I took a personal loan. Um, so yeah. Not only I took a personal loan, remember I told you about I took I borrow against my 401k already. Now on top of that I took a personal loan. So hopefully wish me luck. Wish me luck. But yeah, so just to take advantage of this price here, honestly, you guys. So I mean, I don't think there's any other company, any other industry that is set up to do so much, in the next 10 years over here. So when you see the price this low, and yes, I hope it's gonna go down to 10 too, right? Let it be down there. Now I have more dry powder to even add more at the low. Currently, I have not deployed that portion yet, so I'm waiting on perhaps Bitcoin coming down. I'm hoping. I'm looking at the super micro 10K. Okay, they are heavily dependent on external source of capital, including public offering, convertible note, and credit facility to fund its growth. This reliance on external financing exposes the company to risk as such as dilution, the existing shareholder, and okay, unfavorable. Right. That's true. When I said I hope GME were to do bonds and stuff like that, maybe a favorable one to the company, to the shareholder. It doesn't have to be detrimental to the existing shareholder, when you issue bonds. If it's favorable to the bondholders in the long term, yes. But in short terms, it's going to, uh, kind of. Well, it depends on what he does, right? I was thinking convertible bond, like MicroStrategy is going to give that boost of, a shock to the system. I mean, the way that GME is already being traded, um, has caused a lot of spikes already, right? Like, so again, I don't know how they would calculate all that, but anytime any company buy Bitcoins, it seems like there's a frenzy, a frenzy of people coming in. But they could still, I mean, use algorithm to smack it down again. Have no, you know, no reason to. So, but yeah, for sure though, I feel like if he relying on that bond for to buy Bitcoin, I agree. Essentially, it's going to dilute current shareholder. Um, but if he wants to be conservative, though, like I said, just use the proceed. Just use the net income for every year instead of relying on bonds. That's probably more accumulative, and more conservative and like pragmatic growth, right? It's not going to give you that spike or whatever. It depends on what Bitcoin is doing, right? Because again, when Bitcoin moves, it moves crazily. So I think that's gonna kind of put fear into the people that are shorting this company and wanting to short. Perhaps they're gonna add more short position, right? So who knows? And the legacy short, the people that are shorting since the dawn of day, yeah, perhaps they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to buy it back. And who knows how many shares are still out there? I'm still curious about it. But if it doesn't happen, then at the very least, the growth will comes from Bitcoin holding for sure. But again, this is another layers that I'm like, people are not looking into this. It's very exciting about the layers of what could be possible for this company. So, yeah, crazy. It's like that's why again, like $1,000 a share is not far fetched at all, and it seems more possible now. With this speculation. If it's true, obviously, right? We still have to find out the proof here. I did the same thing for me. Oh, nice. All right. I hope that I'm going to be able to pay it off. I'm expecting good things, obviously, for this particular year. But even if I don't have money to pay back, I'm still fine, unless I don't lose my job. I hope I have. I hope I'm not gonna lose my job until then. But as far as like paying it back slowly, I'll be fine. Let's see. I have a lot on my phone. Okay, from 2000. Nice. I'm pretty fortunate to be able to do that, you guys. Like I was like, dang, really? I got to borrow that much? Crazy. Okay, the auditor expresses an adverse opinion on the company's internal control over the finance. Okay, this means the internal control are found to be ineffective. This means that the internal control are found to be ineffective. Okay, this could be a concern for investor and stakeholder since strong internal error and fraud. Do they own? Didn't you say they own Bitcoin as well? Super microcomputer. I know they do some accounting gimmicks or something to mark to market. I didn't understand that point of accounting. I didn't study that part, but from what I heard, it's like round tripping, right? Like Morans was saying, and they not actually like they borrow money to buy into chips and stuff like that, and then use that as a asset. So, but again, I don't know if they mine Bitcoin or something like that. I'm not well versed on that at all. But yeah, mm, crazy. Yeah, thank you for the information though. Okay, so let me switch gear real quick. Of course, this is a little bit political, so if you want to X out, you can. I know a lot of people don't like, politics and all that stuff, but yeah, financial stuff is again not much new here. Speculation is still speculation until Ryan Cohen show us you know, the statement that yep, Jimmy's gonna buy Bitcoin. We're gonna start, accumulating Bitcoin. That's gonna be cool. Okay, so it wake up in turn in terms of Bitcoin. Wow. Okay, 5 times. That's pretty good. Hopefully, we could do that too for Jimmy, right? Yeah, so that's why I'm sure this is the reason why the share price went crazy because if they do own Bitcoin, that's probably why. Even though the balance sheet makes no sense, right? Let me see. Do they even have earnings? Maybe they just post earnings. Oh, okay. So they do make money. Okay, somebody give a price target of $55 a share. Okay, all right. Hold. Okay. Crazy, crazy. Yeah. Don't care that much about that company, honestly. Anything's not GameStop. Why would I? But hold on, let me curious. I'm curious about the book. Price the book. This is my favorite measurements right here. Price the book. Okay, so close to five times. Um, okay. These are good scores though, right? Almond Z, no bankruptcy. I mean, on the surface, it looks good for sure. Mm, yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this analyst, right? There you go. Price target 130. But yeah, I mean, look pretty good on the surface. But again, like because I can was saying it's uh, dilution incoming or something like in the 10K report. They saw that they are now having problem with getting more borrow. Okay, so they have to borrow money. Got it. Ryan Cohen is getting more political, so it shouldn't be nothing new to us. I love to hear. Ah, thank you. I mean, not much. Obviously, I've been following um kind of like fraud, USID thing. And it seems like one of the things that I've kind of noticed, again, this is not news, okay? Kind of the same thing as they do to GME as well, the news media, how they twist things, okay? And this segment in particular, though, talks about um, some lady who was able to kind of decipher all the frauds and abuse, and Elon Musk was tweeting about it. And so she got famous on that, and her handle is Data Republican. But again, it exposed abuse, frauds, and connecting all the politicians together. And so let's listen in, and I'll point out what I've kind of noticed, the same tactic that they use to discredit somebody, okay, or some group of people. I forgot what network this is on. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in CNBC or something like that. I'm sure they're going to show it later.
News in the past month. And one of the bigger questions is who's really tweezing through the federal budget to identify all that alleged waste and fraud and abuse that's buried in the books? Up to $55 billion worth, if you believe Elon Musk's numbers. So we've heard about some of the tech bro whiz kids who are on Musk's staff, but one of the most zealous and influential crusaders for government efficiency is not on staff, nor is she a bro. She doesn't even have a profane internet handle. Instead, she goes by the vanilla-flavored moniker Data Republican. And she's gotten the attention of Elon Musk by discovering what she believes to be $100 billion in waste and fraud. How, you ask? Well, she says by using her own AI models to sift through huge amounts of data. Until now, Data Republican has chosen to remain anonymous, but since she's dedicated herself to the cause of government transparency, tonight she's decided to be a little more transparent about herself. News Nation's senior national correspondent Brian Enton just sat down with her for an exclusive interview and joins us now. Hey, Brian, so who is this woman?
Yeah, hey, Elizabeth. Yeah, she's gained quite a bit of popularity on social media, even with Elon Musk. The data scientist is very secretive about her real name being out there and her security, but she agreed to meet me at an undisclosed location. She is deaf, and we communicated through an interpreter. Big picture, with all the databases you're looking at and taxpayer money, how much do you think is being wasted or stolen?
If I had to guess, I would say it's over 100 billion. But what's more important is what they're doing with that money.
The mythical X account Data Republican, shared over and over again by Elon Musk himself, is a real person, a former programmer, now full-time calling out government waste, like exposing USAID. How did you get the attention of Elon Musk?
Honestly, I don't know. You'll have to ask him, but I'm grateful. One day, you just, I tweeted what everybody should, I just tweeted what I found, and then he tweeted everyone should follow the Data Republican. My jaw dropped to the floor, and I thought, what, is this real life? But I guess tech people find tech people. I want to be clear. I don't communicate directly with Elon. He found me and supports my work. But I have communicated with some people that are involved with Doge just on the side. And I don't want to say much more about that, but I have a working relationship.
She goes by Data and uses AI tools to search public databases for waste and fraud. She's been to D.C. to meet with Elon Musk's Doge team and publishes all her findings on X and her website. Charity funding, federal grants, non-governmental organizations funded by taxpayers. It's all there. What do you say to people who think that this data, these databases, these numbers have been out there for a long time, that they've been public for a long time, and that it's sort of like a publicity stunt that they're getting all this attention now?
That's just an ignorant assumption. Data does not equal transparency. I am a database expert, a database scientist. I am a kernel engineer, and the numbers do not lie. What I did was I added the index to the book so that people can actually find the awards, what they're looking for. And you have to understand, without AI, this would not be possible because the book is so large, nobody can sit down and read the entire thing.
Her next project could be even bigger, investigating and exposing what she believes are corrupt politicians and judges. She posted this weekend, still working on the People Connection mega project. This will be my first truly financially high-cost initiative, so I need to get it just right.
So my project right now is to work on analyzing connections and relationships between people in the government. Because if you research people long enough, you start to notice that they're all working together. They're all married. They're all in-laws. They know each other. They all sit on the same board for many years. And that's my project, to map those relationships and put it on my website.
She says Democrats and Republicans are both to blame.
I cannot tell you enough how much both are involved. It is everywhere. Now we even have members of Congress. So we have sitting members of Congress that actually sit on the NGOs right now. They vote in Congress for money for themselves, and they sit on the same NGOs that they're voting to get money. It is a huge conflict of interest, and it's buried very deep. The numbers don't lie. This is not a partisan issue, and if the American people understood completely what we're finding, there would be outrage across the board.
Are you ever scared? Because exposing things like that, the ways people are making big money secretly within our government, seems like it could put you at risk.
Oh yes, we had to change the way we live entirely, quickly. But you know, sometimes God calls you for a mission, and you must answer that call.
And it was interesting, you know, she really emphasized that her research is showing that both Democrats and Republicans are responsible for the waste. In fact, with her social media name, Data Republican, she actually changed Republican to a little r. If you look at her profile now, Republican has a little r, because she says she's becoming more and more disappointed in Republicans too. And while much of what she found is not illegal, Elizabeth, it certainly does seem like it is very, very wasteful. Elizabeth?
Lots of waste in government, as we know. Brian Enton, thank you.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so how do you feel about that? I feel like, oh my God. So it's very specific in which they are trying to portray this as, oh, it just, see, at the end there, although it's not illegal, it's very wasteful. What do you mean? It's not illegal? I mean, it's the biggest thing, right? Like when you are giving your husband, your wife, your kids a job, that's not and then you voting on those money to funnel in those organization, that's not a quote unquote a fraud, or at least, you know, a conflict of interest, right? And for some reason they try to normalize that, and the way that they covered this, like at the end there, right, as if like, oh, it's nothing much, like it's just a wasteful thing. It's like, no, you should be outraged because of this. And again, you know, you could kind of see how the tone of this particular segment, wanting you to feel a certain way. It's like, oh, this is just normal. Don't worry about it. You know, don't even want to talk about it. And then look, you know, it's supposed to be normalized, and it's not. This is the biggest fraud ever, right? And this is why we have all these problems, including, you know, naked shorting in the market, and, you know, fraud, crime running rampant by missing orders and misplacing mismarking orders for decades and decades. You know, tens of billions of dollars, and then nothing happens. And so, again, the problem just going to add more and more. I mean, look at the gold shortage right now. I'm sure people are shorting the gold. JP Morgan is one of the biggest one that got fined for it decades ago, spoofing market and whatever. Nothing happened to them. And of course, this is why, you know, you have people, I'm sure these people probably get paid by the same people that are, you know, try to cover this up, or try to, you know, make it seems like it's just a small little thing. It's like, just a wasteful thing, you know, no big deal. like crazy. And this is how I just feel so frustrated sometimes. And even giving giving people at least like, hey, this is happening, this shouldn't happen. How can you change something, like, right, if you don't have any opposition? And so free speech is very, very important. Like, I hope that we have the ability to speak the truth, and again, let people decide. And again, the ramification, it's not just political, it's also in healthcare as well. I recently just looked into I think I tweeted out this one right here. This is enraging me too, because again, healthcare wise, okay, we've been poisoned. Like, I know this. I wouldn't say know this for a fact, because again, I study nutrition, right? And there are certain things that I was taught, and in my mind, I'm like, how does this make any sense? They would recommend something, and then it's just like, it doesn't really help people. For example, losing weight, for example, or gaining weight, or whatever. Much more like losing weight type of claim, and not claim, suggestion, or dietary plan. And I just feel like it's contradictory. And so, but anyway, so this one is about a doctors who's been practicing, for a long time, and he has a whole bunch of data to kind of like prove, vaccinated kid versus non-vaccinated kids. Okay. And so here's what he found.
The CDC has never done any study comparing one year to the next. They've
Right.
never compared the full vaccine schedule to no vaccines or to partial vaccines. They just don't do that. We looked at every single patient born into my practice up to the point of that data set being closed. We had 10 and a half years of data. It was published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. And this was the largest real world patient data, vaxxed, unvaxxed.
So then, to be clear, what you decided to do was, okay, but I do have a large group of children in my practice that use the CDC schedule. So I have all of the evidence that they provided. And then I have the other ones in my practice that didn't use the CDC schedule. And I can compare the two schedules that way. Is that basically what you decided to do?
Well, close. So
Okay.
we were definitely looking at every single patient born in my practice. There
Okay.
was no cherry picking. There was no, we're going to exclude you for this or that. Every baby born was looked at, and we looked at every single office visit. We stratified them according to the number of vaccines they had.
Okay.
So basically, we had over 500 who had 0 vaccines, and then we had another 3,700 and some who had some vaccines. And what we found, Del, was actually even mind-boggling for myself. I mean, I had a sense, I've had a practice now for 14 years where parents get to decide. The one thing I am absolute on is informed consent. You, the parent, get to decide what gets injected into your baby, if anything. You
Right.
should always insist on that, or else walk out of that doctor's office. But because we do informed consent, we had a growing number of unvaccinated patients. And what I was clearly seeing was these kids don't get sick. They don't get chronic conditions. Well, the data spoke for itself. And you're showing your viewers the graphs.
is,
Those
yeah.
orange lines are over time, over that 10 and a half years, the more vaccines you had, the worse you were, for whether we looked at infections, ADD, ADHD, neurodevelopmental issues, eczema, allergies. It doesn't matter what we looked at, even just plain old anemia skyrockets in the vaccinated when compared to the blue line, the unvaccinated.
Wow.
This data is so powerful that within 5 days of it being available online, they yanked my license. December 3rd, 2020, the Oregon Medical Board had an emergency meeting, suspended my license. I was supposedly a threat to public health.
That is crazy, right? And how is it that we don't know about this until now? I'm sure this type of thing was suppressed before that. And time again, this is why doctors are afraid to come out with the right, the right way of, this is what scientists is all about, right? You see data in front of you, and then you make an hypothesis, or at least make a conclusion on that. So when you see this type of data, what is the conclusion? Of course, babies have the most, well, I'm not a doctor, but when you're born, you don't need vaccine, all types of vaccine, just a couple, one, sure, okay, but you don't need tens of thousands of vaccine throughout your life in order to survive. But it seems like the more vaccines you have as a kid, as a baby, the more sick you are later in life. Okay, so this is what it shows. The blues are the kids that have no vaccine. They develop their own immunity and all that stuff, and they're becoming stronger because now your body is actually fighting for survival ever since you're a baby. So your immunity just understand more of the illness around the world, around the environment and all that stuff. While the vaccinated kids are, again, they got immune by the vaccine. And so that's the only strand that they're able to kind of fight. So the other illness is not, they're less strong, like their immune system are less strong to do that. But I mean, the part that bothers me is the part where he got license revoked simply because he published that data. 2 weeks, he said, within 2 weeks or 10 days or whatever. But it's crazy, right? And again, this is the level of corruptions that needs to at least come to light. And I hope he got his license back, because we need people like this. We need doctors, health advisor or whatever, financial advisor even. I'm sure financial advisor the same way. You think it doesn't happen in the financial system? Obviously, right? Because it's kind of entrenched, okay? Within how much money can you make on people? Has nothing to do with saving anyone. Has nothing to do with the fiduciary responsibility, just like scammy, in the world of no wonder, you have the world, you have the greatest country in the world, okay? You have the richest country in the world, and then you just decimate it based on these scummy people, in my opinion, okay? I just hate to even think about that. But again, the reason why the U.S. is so hard to live now, cost of living's why. It's because people are just skimming off the top of every single penny that we made as an American, right? And it's time. It's time to at least kind of change, make a change, right? And again, whether you hate Trump or love Trump, he's doing the right thing at the very least, seemingly. He also, I guess, negotiating the Ukraine war right now. Zelensky, all of a sudden, come to the table and agree to the peace deal. So this is how you're supposed to be doing it, right? And he got crap for it for some reason. It's like, oh, he's racist. Oh, he's sexist. It's like, what? I mean, that's what the Democrats, like the other side, right? They do not have their own message. They're just terrible. And then that's all they latch on to. It's like, oh, white people this. Oh, I just saw a new, what's it, Joy Reid or whatever her name is. All she's talking about is like how white people this, how white people that. It's like, why you keep bringing all of these, But anyway, I just feel like they call it race baiting, right? They just want to hone on that. I'm just sick and tired of hearing it, honestly. Meanwhile, you have people everywhere just like, stop with the race already. All right, so I saw this one. I think I played this one before. Let's switch gear back to the financial stuff here. Let's see. Oh yeah, I saw this one too. So apparently vaccine for dogs, it's not even safe for dogs. Okay, so it's crazy. Oh, and look at this. Okay, so this is the reason why it's so crazy how they think about fraud in general. Okay, it's only 2 minutes, so
Help me understand this. So you just said, I think, that it's federally illegal to do kickbacks, but you can't stop it here in the state of Minnesota because it's not illegal in the state of Minnesota. So if it's federally illegal and you're getting some money is federal money coming through Minnesota in all kinds of different forms and fashions through DHS, billions and billions of dollars come from the federal government. Help me understand why we think here in Minnesota that we can't stop kickbacks when it's federally illegal to do so. Help me understand that.
Commissioner Gandhi.
Chair Robbins, Representative, I believe the issue is that we are not able to prosecute it effectively.
what? So the reason is that they don't know how to prosecute it effectively, meaning they don't have a way to like report it. No, it's just because they're in on it. It seems like, right? Allegedly. But I'm thinking like, man, how corrupt is this government? I've never thought of this corruption. It's like, when you're just staring it at your face, like, oh, the reason why no crime is being committed is because nobody report the crime because they don't know how to.
Representative Barrett.
We can't. Well, the DHS isn't going to be prosecuting it, but you certainly can turn it over to your federal partners, the FBI and others, just as what happened with Feeding Our Futures. And, I remember a decade ago when there were, and I talked to somebody who literally saw this at the airport, there were suitcases full of millions and millions of dollars, and we couldn't substantiate for sure how many hundreds of millions of dollars came out of CCAP, but there was at least some. And that was a decade ago. So now you're saying that we know that we have kickbacks. We have kickbacks pervasive in state government. There is a federal law prohibiting it, but we don't have the authority to stop it here in Minnesota. I don't understand how those two can be in the same sentence. Madam Chair, I don't understand this at all. Like, they already said they have relationships with the FBI and others. It was pervasively throughout their presentation, and yet we know that there's kickbacks. We know it's federally illegal, Madam Chair, and yet we don't have the authority somehow to stop it. I don't understand this, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Help me understand this.
That's crazy, huh? But anyway, it's I don't know what else I'm gonna say. And then here's another one: waste, fraud, and abuse. Right? It's very simple, like Medicare. Whenever Democrats talk about, Medicare is, we need more money for Medicare or whatever, we need not to touch Medicare and all that stuff. Nobody should, touch it, like cut it or whatever. Well, here's the reason why you should at least take a look at what Medicare is doing. Okay.
The Doge Report, Medicare Edition. I want to start this off by first saying, whenever you hear about programs that are government funded, I want to remind you the government actually doesn't make money. Government funded means taxpayer funded. That means you and I funded. That means we funded. So we fund Medicare. So here we go. 2 medicines. These are 2 cancer medicines. We are overpaying for medicines. That's where I'm going to go with this. We're way overpaying for medicine cost because Medicare uses a middleman called pharmacy benefit management companies. That's the person between Medicare and the patient. They decide if you get the procedure, they decide formularies, they decide how much you're going to pay for the cost for prescriptions and all those things. And they are actually paid on a percentage of sales. That means they probably have incentive to make things higher. Here's two examples. Like I said, there's 2 cancer medicines. One of them, if you were to pay out of pocket as a private payer, it would be $17. Instead, Medicare pays $2,400 per dose. So last year alone, Medicare spent $600 million of our dollars on a medicine that should have only cost $4 million. That is a $596 million waste. There was another medicine that was $96 for the patient. However, Medicare paid $3,400 per dose. That last year, they paid $1.5 billion for that one prescription when it should have only cost $42 million. That's 2 prescriptions. Do you know how many prescriptions are out there that every time, you guys, that we are overpaying for in Medicare alone? Like, what in the actual? Okay. Second, illegal immigration has cost Medicaid $16.2 billion in emergency medicine. That is on top of the $9 billion already allotted and used during the Obamacare administration. So that is $25 billion in emergency medicine alone for illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, you and I can't get the MRI we need. You and I have to go through 6 weeks of physical therapy that we will pay for out of pocket before we can get the x-ray. I want you to let that sink in for just a second. Also, fun fact, Medicare costs the taxpayers $1 trillion in a year, and 12% of that just goes to overhead and not towards patient care at all, even though we're paying exorbitant amounts on top of all of that. So that's where your money's going in this Doge report. The Doge report.
That's crazy. Now, I hope, you get a gist of, my frustration here in life. Nah, it's okay. I know, again, like, these type of things needs to be taken care of, you guys, because technically we have enough money in Medicare to treat all of us. All of us. If they're overpaying by that much, then we should have had Medicare for all. I mean, why is it such a hard thing to even grasp? $1 trillion is enough. Enough. Because just like she was saying, one drug costs only, $17 out of pocket? If you were to pay it out of your pocket, 17, and then Medicare paid. It's like crazy. Like 10 times, 20 times. So for one person that is being treated in that way, or whatever, cancer, 10 other people could get it for the same amount that we're paying for Medicare right now. Oh, man. But anyway, so next time when they say they don't have money to pay for anything, show them this, because they do. We're just wasting it. Yes, who's gonna take most of that money? It's Pfizer. It's pharmaceutical company, Medicare, Medicaid, or whatever. Whoever's servicing those service, quote unquote. So yeah, the money just funneling up top, and those people who are have the incentive to keep it that way, to keep you sick, by vaccinate you, since you're a kid, a newborn, like even though you have a perfect immune system already when you're born, they still will try to make you sick, right? And without giving you all the proper information about vaccine, just like that doctor was showing. And not only that, whoever, brought the scientific, study on, presenting the data. He's not even like promoting it. It's just publishing it. So, parents could have a conformed consent. It's like, okay, it's your choice. Here's the data. Your choice whether you want to vaccinate your kid or not. Just that is viewed as a threat, to society. That's crazy. But anyway, so the news is supposed to give you those type of things, but they don't. And that's another thing too. It's like the news are sponsored by Pfizer, right? CNN sponsored by Pfizer. CNBC, you've heard it, like sponsored by Pfizer, sponsored by Pfizer. So yeah, no wonder they don't tell you the right information about the medicine that could harm you and all that stuff. So, but yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry, babbling long enough. I'm kind of like hungry actually, so I need to go and eat. But yeah, thank you so much for joining in, everybody. And I don't know if I'm going to be out here tomorrow, but we'll see. If the price going crazy, of course I'll be here. Like, why not? Celebration. But anyway, I'll let you guys go. Thank you so much. Okay.